My question, because he's been in the news a lot and he's been making comments and everything, is Rich Paul really a good agent, or is he just a product of LeBron James? Because you got Nerlens Noel, who's trying to sue Rich Paul for losing out on a lot of money.
And then Noel says that after that, he played the next 2 seasons, didn't resign with Dallas, spent the next 2 seasons with Oklahoma City, making the league minimum.
Wow. Ooh.
And says that Clutch didn't really make him a priority, didn't help him out, didn't do anything to help him.
Yeah,
and so he ended up
happens.
signing last year then with the Knicks, became a backup center. Again, all, minimum type salary.
Yeah.
But had a great finish to the season, was one of the top defensive centers of the game, and then re-signed with the Knicks. But that's still that $70 million that was on the table. Yeah. He walked away from. And by the way, in the lawsuit, there's other teams, the Clippers and I think the Sixers, who later told Nerlens Noel, "We wanted to sign you. They didn't take our call."
And now with this whole Ben Simmons thing, Rich Paul makes a statement that says,
"I truly believe the fines, the targeting, the negative publicity shined on this issue. That's very unnecessary and has furthered the mental health issues for Ben. So either you can help Ben or come out and say he's lying. Which is it?" So
well, first off, anybody losing money is always going to be bad for your mental health. And if if both sides could just come together and say, okay, you can go to this doctor, you can go to your own doctor, whatever it may be, and then the fines would just stop. If both sides just said, let's just figure it out and it's done, and then we'll trade you once we find the right deal, that's all you need to do. Not come out and make stupid comments and then try and say like, oh, the Sixers fans are never going to let Ben play on the team again. It's like, well, Ben still doesn't want to play on the Sixers either. So you saying that doesn't help any situation. And on top of that, like, Rich Paul has not done anything or said anything that has helped facilitate any kind of deal. It is only hurt. So I'm just trying to figure out, is this guy actually a good agent, or is he just here because LeBron brought him in?
I think the answer for any is this guy good, or is it because LeBron is just, it's because LeBron. Rich Paul is not a good agent. He just is riding the coattails of LeBron. Maverick Carter is not a good businessman. He's just riding the coattails of LeBron. And anyone else attached to LeBron is not a good XYZ. They're just riding the coattails of LeBron. I hate when people put Maverick Carter and Rich Paul on some sort of pedestal and say how great they are. If LeBron James was 6 foot tall and not, very, very good at basketball, these guys would never be heard of. No one would know who any of these guys were. Like, Rich Paul is only an agent because of LeBron. He didn't even have the credentials to be an agent, but they made an exception for him because of LeBron.
Marcus Morris, he had an eventful offseason.
He did.
So allegedly he was offered a big contract from the Clippers, which he turned down.
$40 million.
Then he agreed to a $20 million with the Spurs.
2 years.
Reneged it and then signed with the Knicks, and then he has separated from his agent, Rich Paul at Clutch Sports.
1 year, $15 million with the Knicks.
Take us behind the curtain, Jalen Rose. How does all of this happen within the span of a week?
Well, simple math. We were just on the phone. You was talking to me, somebody want to give me 40. Now you're on the phone telling me somebody want to give me 15. Somebody owe me $25 million. That's how this works. And I lost out on my bread.
Well, I mean, I agree. Again, this is great. This is weird.
This is a weird episode with you agreeing so much.
I mean, the only thing good right now that Rich Paul is doing is Adele.
I forgot that's a relationship. That's a weird relationship.
You like that? But she's a phenomenal singer. Great.
Great album. Great album.
Yeah. Excellent. Anyways, I have a hard time personally believing that Ben Simmons' mental struggles are as bad as he is being told to make them. I don't think that him personally he might be battling some things, and I'm going to walk very carefully around this, okay? Because this is one of those things, but that you kind of don't talk about or say anything negatively about.
Well, it's just one of those things. Like we're not trying to shed any kind of negative light on people who are actually dealing with mental health issues or mental health itself, stuff like that.
That is, thank you. So,
all right, I'll say what Dennis is trying to say. It seems like Ben Simmons is using an excuse that's very hard to contest because of the climate and situation that we are in, and it's an, for lack of a better term, it's an easy escape for him to not play.
Meanwhile,
just waiting on a statement from Ben Simmons. We are talking about a grown man here. Like at some point, like Calvin Ridley did for the NFL, make a statement. Say that you're battling this. It's okay.
That's one of those things that you can't question somebody on. If somebody says, I'm dealing with mental health issues, I'm dealing with anxiety, I'm dealing with this, that, you can't come out and challenge somebody on that. So, however, I'm going to say it anyways. I mean, I don't care. I honestly, I'm not sure if Ben Simmons, I think he's being persuaded to kind of go that route, because if the Sixers continue to find him or aren't being as supportive as they should be, the Sixers are the ones who are going to look bad. Anybody in the Sixers organization who's going to challenge a mental health diagnosis, especially when people around the country are suffering, they're the ones that are going to look bad. So in that case, I think Rich Paul is smart enough and maybe a scumbag. Like he's smart enough to know, okay, well, here's the thing. Let's just tell him that you're suffering from depression. You know what I mean? So if anybody comes back and says anything about Ben Simmons, they're going to look like shit.
Yeah. And that's my biggest question is who is actually saying this? Is Rich Paul saying this or is Ben Simmons saying this? Because most of the articles say Ben Simmons' camp has said XYZ, not Ben Simmons.
I don't think it's Ben Simmons saying it at all, honestly. I think he's being coached to do this, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying he doesn't have these issues, okay? I'm just saying he has these issues, but he's got people who may, and I'm not saying it's 100% true, I'm saying who may be getting in his ear and telling him to exploit that to his benefit.